Well, hey everyone, thank you so much for joining us on this wonderful journey. We're looking over in our sessions here John Maxwell's book and our training today, and for the next several weeks, Becoming a Person of Influence. Thank you so much for making the time commitment. I understand very, very clearly that you have other things you can be doing. You could be working, spending time with friends, family. You can be even working in your groups right now and with the people that you lead. But you've taken time out to watch these 30-minute videos every week and then going into our mastermind training groups in person. I just can't wait to get to our next one together. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump right into our session. You should have your notes already. Matter of fact, you can probably see my notes that are in my glasses. So if you don't have your notes, go ahead and pause me right now and go ahead and get those notes out. Put them on your iPad, put them on your phone, put them on your computer, or print them out and fill in the blanks, whatever you need to do. I just want to make sure that you're ready to fill in some wonderful blanks. We're going to go through a lot of material, and we're going to try to do it really fast here today because the power is not just in me talking to you for 30 minutes, but the power is in the review process of you going back through this and understanding what areas you want to work on, and then taking those areas and taking those things and bringing them to the mastermind group so we can have some great discussion about it. So before we go in, I want to share with you one simple teaching and training thing that I think is going to help you to review. John Maxwell has been mentoring my wife and I for a number of years now, and he's taught me one thing. It's really, really awesome. It's called the ACT system. Whenever you go to any seminar, any conference, whenever you go to any speaking engagement and you're listening to someone, always apply the ACT system. It's really simple and really easy. The A in ACT stands for apply. Application. Anything that you want to apply right now immediately to your life, I want you, as we go on and you think of those things, I want you to put an A next to something that's just completely stands out. And then the next one is C. And C stands for change. And as we go through our lessons here today and in the next couple of weeks, if you see things that you just want to change, or even within your group that you may want to change, that you may want to use, go ahead and put a C next to that on the left so you can go back and review that. And the very last thing is T. And T stands for teach. And if this is something that you find on that one note or that one principle that you want to teach to other people, put a T next to that so that you could quickly identify it. The bottom line is we have 7 pages, guys, of notes that we're going to go through today. And we're going to try to go through them fast, and I'm going to interject a few things as well and a few thoughts at the very end. So I want you to be able to quickly be able on your own time to review these notes and pick out the A's, the C's, and the T's so that you can become a more effective leader. Today we're talking about influence. So by now you should have your notes, and if you don't, go ahead and pause me and get them. But since you didn't pause me, I think we're ready to go. So let's go into your notes. Session number 1, the first blank that we're going to fill in, it says leadership is influence. In the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John Maxwell, he has one of the laws is called the law of influence, and it simply says the true measure of leadership is influence, nothing more and nothing less. Leadership is influence, and influence is leadership. The law of E.F. Hutton states that when the real leader speaks, people listen. So what I want you to know is this. It's simple. Is the person that within a group that has the most influence in any given situation or at any given time or any group, the one that has the most influence in that group is the leader. It doesn't matter about the title or the position. If that person has the influence, then they are the leader. And this is our goal today, is to have that influence. And over the next few weeks, that's what we're going to be growing in. In your notes, increasing your influence equals increasing your leadership. There's a quote in your notes. We're going to skip it, but you can read it on your own time, and we may skip a few things here for the sake of time, but we're going to go into the goals of this training. And the first goal is this: to help you better understand influence, and number 2, to help you increase your influence with other people. And we're going to do this one way. Today we're going to be going over what's called an influence inventory. This is something that's been created by John Maxwell to help us understand our own influence with people, and the who's, the what's, the where's, the why's, and the how's. so that we can get it, so that we can understand it, and take inventory of it in our own life. So we have 6 questions we're going to go over here today, and I follow along with me. We'll have a couple of pause breaks in the middle. Question number 1 is this, in your notes: who do I influence? And the principle is this: as a leader, I attract who I am, not who I want. So it's very simple. Whoever I influence is who I'm going to attract into my life. Very, very simple. You have 3 spaces here, and what we're going to do is just take a short, brief time to fill these out. I want you to go ahead and take a few seconds, maybe 20, 30 seconds, and list the top 3 characteristics of any person that you would want on your team. Go ahead and do that right now. List the top 3 characteristics of a person that you would want on your team. You're probably writing already, aren't you? So go ahead and do that. I'm really excited. I can't wait to hear them in our groups when we get together. You have those? Are you ready to go? You got them written down? Okay, if you don't, pause me because I want you to finish this. So I have one simple question for you. Do you possess those characteristics? It's as simple as that. Look at those 3 characteristics that you wrote down. Do you possess those same characteristics? Because you attract who you are, not who you want in your life and on your team. For instance, I've heard people say, I want someone who's hardworking, someone who works really hard. Well, are you hardworking? Well, David, I want someone on my team who gets along well with others, who doesn't cause divisions, and who's not always angry and starting fights. Well, do you get along well with others? You get where I'm going with this, don't you? Bottom line is, birds of a feather flock together. So who do you influence? You have to know who you influence if you want to attract more influenced people into your life. And most likely, it's the same characteristics that you have in your own character as well. Question number 2, moving on. And you know, the next page, by the way, we're not going to do this, but you could do this on your own time. This is just a quick influence inventory thing where you can kind of go through and circle certain things. Do I influence leaders or do I influence followers? Do I influence big picture or little picture people? You can kind of circle the one. Do that on your own time. I think it's going to be very revealing for you to understand who it is that you really influence, because remember, if you attract who you are, not who you want, if you're influencing leaders, then you're probably a leader. If you're influencing negative people all the time, that those are the people that seem to be around you, most likely you're a negative person. Now, there's no right or wrong answer about any of these. It just is what it is. But I would really highly encourage that you take the time to go through these and do them, because I think it's going to reveal a lot about the characteristics that are in your life as you become a better leader. And remember, this is a personal inventory, so you don't have to share it. So be honest with yourself. It's okay. There's no right or wrong answer. We're going to move on to question number 2. Question number 2, how do you influence others? The principle is this: how I influence people will determine how many, how long, and how effectively I influence them. So what we've listed here are seven methods of influence, and these are from the worst to the best. So we've listed on number 1 like the worst method of influence that you could possibly use. This is how do I use it? I use it by number 1 or number 2 or number 3. And what I would encourage you to do is, as we go through these and we reach number 7, again, be honest, because as we fill in the blanks, I want you to circle where you feel you are right now in your life. So number 1, the first method of influence, from worst to best, mind you, is force. There is no choice in the decision. That's what that means. You don't have a choice. You are forced in to doing something and influencing someone else. Number 2 is intimidation. Intimidation simply says it's my way or the highway. How many people know someone like that? It's my way or the highway. You do what I say or we don't do it at all. That's called intimidation. That's pretty bad still, right? But we're kind of going from worst to best now. So now we're on number 3. Number 3 is manipulation. There's a winner and a loser. and I have to manipulate my way to be that winner because either you or me is going to be that loser, and really I want it to be me. Well, the winner at least. I want me to be the winner, so I have to manipulate. Yeah, it's getting a little better, but they're still pretty bad, aren't they? Number 4, positional. We follow because we have to, right? I mean, we have no choice but to follow people. This is how I do it. I influence people because of my position. I'm the boss. I'm the leader, so I have to. You have to listen to me. Number 5 is exchange. Exchange is when we both win something. So there's no losers. You win, I win. That's an exchange. Well, that doesn't sound that bad. It sounds like we're getting a little bit better on our methods, doesn't it? Number 6. Number 6 is persuasion. This is a little bit better. Persuasion says we follow because we want to follow. I mean, matter of fact, the word persuasion is Greek, and it comes from the word in Greek meaning sweetness. So I've kind of sweetened the pot. That's kind of why I'm following you, because you've sweetened the pot for me. Nothing wrong with that. You've done something for me, and I want to follow you because of it. And then lastly, number 7, and I think this is maybe the highest level, this is the level that's called respect. Number 7 is respect. We follow because of the request and the respect for the influencer. So go ahead and take a second, and number 1 through 7 you have here, just put a little circle next to the one where you think you are in your leadership. It's okay if you're on number 1, if you feel like you influence from the worst possible standpoint, or number 2 or number 3, it's perfectly fine. This is your personal inventory, so don't feel bad, but I guarantee you we're going to increase it. Here's what I know though. When you influence people because they respect you, that is the highest level of leadership and influence that there can possibly be. So how do you influence others? We're going to get to respect by the time that we're done with our training here in the next few weeks. Question number 3, moving on. How many do I influence? And the principle is this: how many? As a leader, the number of people who follow is based on my level of influence. So that's the question. So the question is, how many do I influence? The number of people who follow me is based on my level of influence. If I don't have a lot of people following me, then I don't have a lot of influence. It's as simple as that. In your notes here, there's a note that says everyone influences somebody. If you're a mom and you're a stay-at-home mom, chances are you are a leader and you are an influencer because you have the little kids running around. But in your notes, few people influence a lot of people. So we have a few lines here, and this really resonates with me. We have a line that at the top that says your leadership potential, and then below that your leadership level. When I walked into an organization like Christ Fellowship when I used to work there, and just a quick story to share with you, when I was brought in to kind of oversee our retail operations and kind of direct and lead that, it was what it was where it was there. It was as simple as that. There was a large bookstore, there was another small one running out of a little closet, and that was it. And I said, well, guys, this is our level right now. This is where we are right now. But do you think we could go from where we are here? And I kind of shared all my vision and all my dreams and my goals, which were like here. And they looked around and they said, well, difficult, I don't know. But they all came up with a yes. And I said, probably not. Because here's what I know. If you could have done it, then you would have been here already. But I said, great news, because this is why I came in. I was brought in to train and develop you so that you can increase your leadership, so that you could learn more and grow more, thus influence a wider range of people on a wider range of campuses and have more retail operations in different areas. But there's only one way that is going to happen, and it's going to be simple. You're going to have to change, and that's what I told them. I said, you're going to have to change. Because right now you're here. You can't. If you would have already known how to go from here to your potential, you would have done it already. But the bottom line is that is where your potential is right now. That's your level. So I said either you're going to have to change or I'm going to have to change you. And some people did change, and we did end up growing, and we had a lot of great leaders, and we developed great volunteer leaders, great processes, great training, great leadership people that went on to do other great things, and some people we had to change out. See, the difference, back in your notes here, the difference between these two lines, your leadership level and your leadership potential, is 3 things. It's determined by, number 1, our own leadership. Number 2, our willingness to change. And number 3, our desire to grow. I guarantee you this, and here's what I know. We all have and are at a leadership level right now. But your willingness to change and your desire to grow, I guarantee you, will determine if you will reach your full leadership potential. Moving on to question number 4. Hey, this would, by the way, be a great time to take a break if you want to take a water break, or pause me for a few minutes and go listen for something else for a few minutes, because I know we're getting deep. If you haven't paused me, then we're going to keep pressing on here to question number 4. When do I influence others? And the principle is simple. Our value and significance rises when we influence others at a time when it's needed the most. Isn't that true? When we're needed the most, we have a better value of how we can influence. Because if we can step in at a dire straight time, then we can do a lot more, can't we? I love what Winston Churchill said. He said, there comes a special moment in everyone's life, a moment for which that person was born. That special opportunity, when he seizes it, will fulfill his mission. A mission for which he is uniquely qualified. In that moment, he finds greatness. It is his final hour. Napoleon understood this reality well. He once said, I have noticed in every campaign that I have fought that there is a key segment of time, somewhere between 13 and 15 minutes, in which the battle is won or lost. I focus on that segment of time, and I win. You see, what I know is this. Influence is a timing issue. When do you influence others? On your blanks here, leaders or readers? What are you reading right now? Great book that we're going over right now, Becoming a Person of Influence. John Maxwell came out with a new one called The 5 Levels of Leadership. Phenomenal book to teach you influence and leadership and to help you increase your levels to get you to level number 5. You see, every influencer and every leader, in your notes, they sense in that reading and in that timing, they sense, number 1, they sense teachable moments. They sense when people are in a teachable mood and when they can make the most difference. Now, this is what they sense. This isn't what they see. This is what they feel. Number 2, they sense or they feel breakthrough places in their groups. When a person or a group they just know there's a breakthrough and now they're ready to go to another level. And number 3, they sense a catalyst time. Catalyst times. A catalytic moment. This is when the tides are changing. Something big is about to happen. They can sense it. They can feel it. Their group is ready to explode. And because timing is an issue, they sense these things. They feel these things. And when they do, they pounce and they utilize it for the biggest impact. A true influencer understands it's a timing issue. Back in your notes, breakthroughs occur in people and organizations when they, number 1, hurt enough that they have to change, they learn enough that they want to change, or they receive enough that they're able to change. So here's the thing. I've learned in my life this law of timing. I've understood that I have to sense when the timing is right, because that is what a true influencer do. That's what true leaders do. They can sense it. I've had to learn that in my groups, the people that I lead on a daily basis. I have to be able to sense, are they hurting? Are they receiving? Are they learning? Is there a breakthrough moment right now? Is it a catalytic time? I have to understand those breakthrough moments because timing is everything. Number 5 in your notes, why do I influence others? Now, this is like a personal inventory question here. So this is what you're going to have to really think of on your personal time. The principle is this: why you do something will ultimately determine what you do. So this simply comes down to motives. It's as simple as that. Why do you want to lead? Why do you want to be where you are right now? Why? What motivates you? Is it because you want to be out front, because you want to be seen, or because you feel like you can give so much of your knowledge and assistance to someone else? In your notes, right motives are crucial to people because leadership functions on the basis of trust. And it always has, and it always will. Trust is key. Motives, the right motives, are key because that's how they can learn to trust you if you have the right motives. Questioning your motive is different than questioning your character. Motives are usually attached to specific situations and are often short in duration, while character, however, is connected to the heart and is with you in all situations. Therefore, you can have a temporarily flawed motive and still have solid character. So here's the point. Continual wrong motives is a result of what? A result of bad character. You can have the wrong motive once or twice, but you better fix it. But if you continually have wrong motives, don't check your motives, check your character. Why do you want to lead? Why do you want to influence others? And last question we're going to move to, question number 6. Where do I influence others? Too often people feel that they cannot influence others because they do not have a leadership position. Here's what I know, and this is what I'm here to tell you. The position does not make the leader makes the position. You can lead where you are right now. You can influence where you are right now. Don't worry about the position. As a matter of fact, I don't know if you're a down here leader or if you're not a leader at all. I don't know if you're a middle of the pack or the top of the pack leader if you're watching this, but there's a couple of leadership mistakes that are often made by people that are kind of in that middle of the pack of leadership. You know, they're not really the boss, but they do have people that they lead. And especially if you're a young leader, I especially want you to understand this, and I want you to pay close attention. These are mistakes often made, okay? Mistake number 1, it says, if I'm not on top, then I can't lead. Have you ever felt like that? If I'm not the big dog, if I'm not on top, then I can't be the leader. I'm here to tell you that that's not true. Leadership is influence, not position. Don't worry about being on the top. Just worry about influencing people the best you can, and you'll become a great leader. Mistake number 2, when I get to the top, then I'll learn to lead. Then I will get the point. Then I'll learn how to do it. Here's what I know about this. You will be tomorrow what you are preparing for today. So don't wait till you get to the top to learn it. Let's learn how to influence right now and then get to the top by using it. Mistake number 3, if I were at the top, then everyone would follow me. This is a huge miss. I guarantee you it won't happen. Because if people, here's what I know. If people don't follow you now, they won't follow you then. That's so true. And mistake number 4, when I get to the top, I will be able to do anything I want. And that's simply not true. Because the bottom line, and this is in your diagram here, the higher you go, the less options you have. If you kind of see on your pyramid there, you know, the wider part at the very bottom, you're a lower leader. You have so many options, but the higher you go, you have far less options to do things in your life. The bottom line is, if when you get to the top, that's when you have to practice servant leadership. So you think, oh, I can have that corner office and I can have that. Where's my parking space by the front door? That's not leadership. That's when you practice servant leadership. And that means that you'll probably have to do more things and more often and things that you don't want to do. So where you influence matters most, doesn't it? You can do it from the position that you're in right now. Those are our 6 inventory questions. And to wrap up our session today, I'm just going to take a few more minutes of your time and go through a couple of insights into influence here that I think is going to set the tone for the next several weeks. Insight number 1. Okay, these are some influence insights with me. So stay with me here. Don't go anywhere. We're almost done. Number 1, leadership is influence. Nothing more, nothing less. We already spoke about that, didn't we? I once read that the average person tries to influence about 4 people a day. 4 people a day. Kind of thought about that, and I said, wow, 4 people a day, that seems kind of low. I mean, doesn't it? Question is, how many people do you think that you influence every day? I mean, hey, if you're a parent, you probably influence a couple hundred times a day. You know, you're at school, you're at daycares, you're at home with your kids, you're probably doing a lot of influencing. What I know is that leadership is influence. Now, you have to stay with me here because, again, like I said, I'm a man of faith, and this is just my background. We have a prayer in here. I love this leader's prayer, it's called. I'm going to read this by Pauline Peters, and you can follow with me. She says, God, when I am wrong, make me willing to change. When I am right, make me easy to live with. So strengthen me that the power of my influence will far exceed the authority of my position. Wow, I put a big T right next to that whole thing. I want to teach that. Can you imagine if we just had that answered, what kind of leaders we would fully be? So insight number 2, moving on, our influence with others is usually not in all areas. I know this to be very certain. You know, we very seldom influence in every area of someone's life or in every area of a group's life or your group's life. Very seldom do you do that. You cannot speak into every single thing. If you don't believe me, if you think you have influence in every area, here's a great quote for you. The Cockle-Burr, it's a leadership website online, it's a legal website online, but they wrote this. They said, anytime you think you have influence, try ordering around someone else's dog. I have 3 big dogs, 3 100-pound monsters. If you think that you have influence anytime, anywhere, try coming to my house and ordering around my big dogs, because it's not going to work. Insight number 3, with influence comes responsibility. There are people whose well-being and destiny are within a leader's influence. A leader cannot escape that fact. Too many leaders want the perks of leadership without paying the price of leadership. We want the beautiful corner office. We don't want that cubicle if we're a leader, do we? We want that new electronic, laptop, computer, iPad because we've been promoted, but we don't want to have to pay the price of getting there. See, you have a responsibility as a leader. And a lot of people's destinies and well-beings are in your hands. And for you to get to where you need to be to help them, you have a responsibility to sacrifice and pay that price of leadership. Insight number 4, my influence with others is either positive or negative. Isn't that true? I mean, you can influence people in a negative way or in a positive way. Insight number 5, our influence can grow. Hey guys, this is the goal of our training. This is what I want to help you to do. I want to help you to grow your influence. And the great news is that it can, if you just are willing to change and have a desire to grow. And last insight, and this is where we're going to end off. Number 6, people of positive influence add value to others. And this is my life's mission. I really believe my destiny and my calling is to add value to other people through training and personal coaching and mentoring and teaching and speaking. Okay, so I've been on a personal mission to constantly learn all the time how I can increase my influence and leadership in my life so that I can add value in every situation that I'm possibly in. And here's what I've learned. There are 4 ways to do it. Number 1, we add value to people when we truly value people. You have to value the people that you lead. If you don't value them, they will see right through you, and you will not have positive influence on them. Number 2, we add value to people when we know and we relate to what they value. I think this is a big mistake that parents make a lot of the times. Parents like to lord over their kids and be the boss, and I'm the dad, I'm the mom, and what I say goes, but it just doesn't go well with the kids, does it? Because all the kids are asking for is for someone to relate to them and understand what they're going through. So as a leader, if you want to add value to people and influence people, you have to step out of your body and out of your life and into someone else's shoes. to understand them. Then you can add value. Number 3, we make ourselves more valuable. Hey, thanks so much for watching these videos, and thanks so much for joining us in our mastermind groups, because you are making yourself more valuable. But don't let it stop. When we're done, pick up a couple of books at a time and read. One on this subject, one on this subject, one on this subject. When you're in your downtime, instead of listening to music in the car while you're driving, listen to an audiobook that's going to help you learn. Make yourself more valuable so that you can help other people and add value to them. And lastly, we add value, number 4, when we do the things that God values. Again, I'm a person of faith. This is huge for me. When we do the things that God values, I know that we can help add value to other people and influence people in a positive way. So hey, we're going to end here. Go back and use the ACT system, the ACT. Go back and review these notes over the next few days, and we'll see you at our next mastermind group, where we're going to have a wonderful discussion and get in deeper into these things. Thank you so much for joining us, and have a great week, guys.